All right, so tell me about you recently dropped a YouTube video kind of going over how you transitioned from going from the medical field into the entrepreneur and the business that you've created now. I'm curious if you could talk about that whole story. It's super interesting because right now I'm in the medical field. So I'd love to hear your involvement and kind of what inspired you to switch it up.
Definitely not a bad place to be if you're passionate about it. But in my case, I just was not passionate about it. I didn't care about it. I didn't like what I was enjoying. And that's not the type of life that I wanted to live throughout the entirety of my future. So it was actually my freshman year. I was in the Lyman Bridge program at Michigan State University, which is like an accelerated med school program for people who are like better at science. And I was in my bio class. So towards the end of the semester, you have this research project. It's called the Lyman Briggs Symposium, and you have basically all year to practice for that, like research for that, and then present on the final day of class. So I actually never went to class except for finals week. So I'm actually like walking to class, and then I see all these TAs, these professors, PhDs, doctors, and like the entire student body sitting in this lecture hall. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I have no idea what's happening. And then it finally hits me. And I'm thinking, oh, shoot, it's finals week. It's actually the research project presentation for our final project. So I'm like freaking out. And my last name's Ansari. So obviously, if you know, people typically go by your last name in order of like who presents first. So they're like, Ibrahim, you're the first to present. So I didn't think much of it. I didn't really care at the time either because I just wanted to get by and be done with it. So I was like, whatever, hop up on stage, talk for about 15, 20 minutes, and then basically just hop off. And then I leave right after. You're supposed to stay, but I just didn't care. So I left. And then fast forward a couple weeks, I'm sitting in the back of class, and the teacher's like basically just talking. I'm not paying attention. I'm just playing a video game on my phone, and everybody's head turns towards me. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I look up, and everybody's just staring at me. And my buddy taps me. He's like, Ibrahim, look at the screen. And it says Best Presenter Award goes to Ibrahim Ansari. And I'm like, what the heck? Everybody was like practicing for this presentation all year long. I forgot about it and just spit something out of
What?
nowhere. And I ended up winning the Best Presenter Award. So that same day, we actually figured out our final grades for the class. So the Best Presenter Award was for the lab portion. It's split like 30% lab and then 90% or 70% for the exam section. So the exam
Yeah.
section, I actually ended up getting a 60% on, which is a D. So I was like, I'm so talented that I got the Best Presenter Award, but like I just didn't care enough about the class that I failed the exam section. So me being the businessman that I am now, I walked into my professor's office and I tried to close her on at least giving me a C just so I could pass and not have a failing grade and have to like pay for those credits again, right? So when I walk into the teacher's little room, she's like, Ibrahim, why do you want to be a doctor? And I was like, I just want to help people. And she was like, no, why do you really want to be a doctor? And I was like, I want to help people. And she like basically just cracked the code and broke it down out of me. I was like, just being honest, my parents told me that's the only way I can make money. Like, that's the only way I can be successful. That's the only way they're going to be proud of me if I actually like pursue medicine and become a doctor. And she explained to me there's a million different ways you can be successful. You don't have to be a doctor to make a ton of money. You don't have to be a doctor to help people. And she straight up told me, I didn't include this in the video, but she was like, I don't think you're cut out for this. And I was like, I don't either. I honestly hate this. I told her to her face. I was like, I hate what I'm doing. I'm not happy. I wake up every single day. I dread coming to class. I dread hearing you talk. And she was like, I know, because I could see how you interact in my class. I could see it on your face. And I know you're a really smart kid, but you just don't apply yourself when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you explore other options? So we started talking about business. And then a couple weeks after that, I kind of just dove into entrepreneurship, started learning about high income skills, and then finally launched my first company.
This episode is sponsored by thedailytraders.com. Now, if you're interested in learning how to trade in the stock market, I have put together a curriculum of videos covering everything I know, everything I've learned over the last 5 years trading in the market. The link will be the first in the description below to my mentorship group. You click that link, apply discount code YouTube50 to get $50 off, and I will see you over there. What was that?
What was the first company? Is that grow out like your company now?
Yeah, so
Okay.
a couple of weeks went by. Between those couple of weeks, I started doing affiliate marketing. So I kind of learned from another company about how the game goes, like how the online space works, how to learn how to sell. Because if you're doing affiliate marketing, you don't really have to start from scratch. You kind of leverage somebody else's business and somebody else's platform to make an income for yourself and learn a bunch of high income skills, which I thought was really great. And then a couple weeks or a couple months goes by. Then officially I launched my first company. That was called Swayology Agency. So the reason behind that name, Sway, SWA, my last name's Ansari, success with Ansari Agency. And then that was a white label agency. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So for the people that don't know, a white label agency is when people come to you for service, but you kind of outsource it to a contractor. For example, I charge like $5,000 for a website. I'd find a contractor who could fulfill on that for $2,500. I'd keep 2.5K. The contractor would keep 2.5K. And then he'd pass back the website to me. I'd present to the client as if it was done through me.
Yeah, like middleman.
So that was my first kind of like foot in the door with digital marketing.
Okay.
And how old were you? And at that point, how much were you making?
I was 19 at the time, and I ended up scaling that business to 10 to 15K a month just through white labeling.
Okay. Was that your first like taste of like, real money as an entrepreneur?
My first taste of real money as an entrepreneur, well, 5 figures a month, yeah, but I was making like probably 2 to 3K doing affiliate marketing prior to that. And that's when I kind of learned, like, I was like, all right, like once you actually apply yourself, there's actually a bunch of potential and possibilities with this. So that's kind of what pushed me to take that step and actually start my own company. And it's crazy because when I did do that, I had the whole world against me. I'm sure you guys know this because like you guys are fairly young too. When you start something and people aren't used to it, like being a young entrepreneur, a young business owner, everybody's going to talk behind your back. They're going to be like, why is he doing this? Who's going to come to you? Why are people going to want to do business with you? You're just a kid. You don't know anything. But like, that's the whole point, that you're trying to put yourself out there so that you can learn. And that's what people don't understand. So I faced a lot of adversity, especially in college. Are you guys in school right now?
I dropped out my first semester of college, and then Mark kind of like barely made it through high school.
When you're in college and you try something new or out of the ordinary, people are going to look at you crazy and actually start making money.
Yeah.
Like I've got a ton of stories where like when I first started, people were talking crazy behind my back, like some of my closest friends. And now people will message me and ask, hey, are there any spots on your team? Hey, can you help me with this business? Hey, you're really killing it right now. I would love to just have like lunch with you or connect. And it's funny because those are the same people that talked behind my back a couple of years ago when I was trying to get everything off the ground.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on college?
On college, so I think that if you're trying to be an engineer, if you're actually passionate about being a doctor, or if you want to be a lawyer, college 100%, do your thing, go through it. You got to get your education, and you'll be successful. You'll live the life you want. But my whole opinion on college is if you're trying to go into business, it's just a waste of time. Because if you think about it, college was created by Rockefeller in the early 1900s. I believe he created the educational system in 1902. Okay. So Rockefeller had this whole purpose. He literally has a quote where he was like, I don't want to create leaders. I want to create workers. And that's the man who created the educational system. And nothing has changed within the educational system from 1902 to 2023, because the whole purpose of it is to create people to work monotonous tasks for the rest of their lives. Because back in 1902, they created the educational system so that people would go into like the educational system, work, learn a specific task, and then take that into a factory and then basically do that till the day they die. And that's kind of what people are doing now. And everybody's doing it at the same time. I know people that went to prestigious schools and after they graduated, they still can't find a job because everybody's doing the same thing. That's why there's a top 1% and a bottom 99%, because 99% of people just follow the crowd and everybody's going to college. So nothing makes you special anymore.
Yeah, I like that take. So if someone's like going into, say, leaving high school and they're kind of making that decision, should I go to college or should I, go out and do my own thing? How do you make that transition? Because I know there's a lot of like, parents that are like not supportive of their kids not going to college, and they won't support them financially. So, maybe someone is kind of left on their own without much income and they're kind of forced into going to college. How do you make that transition into something that is going to make you money where, you're not forced into going to school?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's actually exactly what happened to me. So my parents forced me to go to college. I did not have a choice. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to just like skip the whole medical thing because that was my passion. But they told me that's the only way to be successful. So I was like, all right, I'll try it out, see where it goes. But the reason why I pushed myself so hard, unlike any other kids like that are 18, 19 years old trying to pursue a business, is because I didn't give myself a plan B. So
yeah,
I think that when people have something to fall back on, like wealthy parents, a trust fund, whatever the case is, like passive income, they're not going to try as hard as they honestly should or could, because they're like, all right, I have a plan B. If like shit hits the fan, then I'll just like be safe, right? But if you don't give yourself an option but to succeed, then you're going to make it happen regardless, because nothing's going to stop you from being successful except for yourself. So if you quit or take your foot off the gas, then that's your fault at the end of the day. And then I also use that to drive me, because my parents were not supportive of me when I first started. Now they brag about me all the time, obviously. But when I first started, my parents were like, you don't know what you're doing. You're going down the wrong path. Go back to school, pursue medicine. You're wasting your time. Like, you name it, they've told it to me, right? So it wasn't until I actually started seeing money come into my bank account. At the time, I had a checkings account. My mom was on it too, so she could like see all my funds and stuff. Because like when you're in high school, they just like have a shared account with you. And she saw like the money slowly start to come in when I was in college, and she was like, "Whoa, what's going on? Is this legal? Like, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's just social media marketing." And then it got to a point when I was 19 years old, I took her off my account, and that's when the big bucks started coming in. And then she saw me traveling the world. Like, I was going on a bunch of trips with my business partners. I was flying first class. I still only fly first class every single place I travel to. I go to 5-star resorts. Like, I treat myself well because I worked for it, and she sees that. So now she's very happy. But at the time, she didn't really understand. And it's nothing against her, not trying to like say she wasn't supportive at me at like first, but I just think that your parents have your best interest in mind, but they don't exactly know the best way for you to get from to like point A to point B.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned going on trips with like business partners, and I believe you also mentioned something about meeting someone who changed your life online. Was it through Instagram? I'm really curious because obviously networking is such a huge part in growing a business, especially when you're, a younger guy with not a lot of experience. Sometimes you need someone who's maybe has more experience or has more connections to kind of bring you along. So do you want to talk about how to make connections online, and then also your story?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch I could say on that. So as for meeting my business partner, I actually met my business partner. His name's Renzo, through Instagram and Facebook. We were in a Facebook group together. We were both crushing it. I had my agency, he had his agency. We were both doing 10 to 15K a month. And we had a group chat together of just like 3 or 4 entrepreneurs that were all killing it. And we all started around the same time. So through social media, we kind of just like posted content so that people could see what we were doing, so that people could see what I was doing. I could see what he was doing. And then we just branched off like new ideas, like, oh, I just closed this like $5,000 client. And then he'd say like, oh, I just booked 30 calls for my agency this month. So we'd see each other killing it. And we were like, it got to a point where we were like, yo, let's kill it together, because you got a certain set of skills that I could use, and I've got a certain set of skills that you can use, and we'll just become a powerhouse. So we actually launched our first company together. It's called Growthology Agency, the one right up here, without even meeting each other in person. So we just had like a bunch of Zoom calls just like this. And we talk on the phone every single day about where we see the market going, what our plans are, what our strengths are, what's going to work out, what's not going to work out. Like, what should we look out for? What are other like people doing that we should be doing? And then we just went all in, launched the agency within the first month, maybe $4,000 and $7,000, and then exponentially 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, and so on.
So where are you at now? How much do you
make? Because
we
predicted the market too. So
okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
off.
No,
keep going. I know everyone's out here like itching to hear how much you make, and we'll touch on that. But you go ahead and finish what you're saying. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. So my whole point with that is that we anticipated what was going on with the market, which is why we saw so much success. So we launched this around the time of COVID. So when we were thinking about when I was thinking about what business model to start, I wanted to do something that was going to actually have a lot of like potential and growth. So I had an internship at a Fortune 500 company in Chicago, and it ended up getting canceled due to COVID. So instead of being a bum like everybody else and just dwelling on that, playing video games till 4 a.m., unfortunately, like a lot of my friends did, I was like, let's create an opportunity for myself. So that's when I started the digital marketing agency, because I saw a lot of potential, since all these physical stores or all these brick and mortar stores were shutting down physically, but they were trying to look for a way to survive. And that was through the online space digitally. So I was like, all right, right place, right time, great opportunity. I'm a young guy. I know how social media works. I've been on social media for a long time. I could definitely help these like older people out. So that's what I did. And it definitely worked out. So that was my first company. Then with Renzo, I started a consulting business. And then we also do social media marketing as well. And we started off by actually prospecting online coaches and personal trainers because we noticed that gyms were shutting down at the same time. So we were trying to like think in the future. I always say go where the ball is headed and not where the ball is currently at. So I saw like gyms starting to slowly shut down. So I was like, all right, there's going to be tons of people out there who need help to stay in shape because they're just going to be staying at home. And there's going to be tons of personal trainers and online coaches who are getting laid off because gyms are shutting down. So let's prospect online coaches and fitness trainers and teach them how to grow a brand online and acquire clients online because there's a market for both online trainers and people who need online trainers. So we saw immediate success with that. The first month we did $20,000 online, and that just kept growing through referrals. You provide somebody with a good product or service, they're going to tell all their friends, and then you could throw in like a referral commission too, so that everybody wins.
Wow. Okay.
So talk about scaling that from like a profit standpoint, where you started with like the whole thing. I think that's what Mark was hinting at.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I think that scaling is just doing the little things at scale. So the same way of you onboarding one client, you want it to be seamless for onboarding like 100 clients. So in order to scale that, we, number one, doubled down on what we were doing. We built out a team. So we have people doing outbound for us. We've got around like 45, 50 people doing that, like affiliate marketing, basically. How I started, I gave other people the same opportunity. They get around 10 to 20% for every deal they close. We also have VAs in my account and Renzo's account. So through my account personally, I have a virtual assistant sending out 100 outbounds every single day through Instagram DMs, and then 120 every single day through Facebook Messenger. And then we have that through his account as well. And then LinkedIn too, I have an automated system sending out messages there. But as of now, ever since I started posting on like TikTok, I've been getting tons of inbound leads, probably at least 2,000 inbound leads just to work with my agency. So that's a big way that we've been scaling, just doubling down on content, because the virality aspect on social media nowadays is insane. So I'm sure you guys know that, considering you have 3 million followers on all these platforms.
Yeah. No, TikTok.
Yeah, you just post, spend a good amount of time, like thinking of a high quality video, provide people with good value, and then just put it out there for the world to see, and then it'll blow up.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's true. So I'm trying to get a sense for, if you could share this, what are you making? What's the agency making a month right now? People love hearing this.
Well, it's not consistently the same number every single month, but anywhere between $105,000 to $120,000 a month in revenue.
Wow, good for you.
And then our margins are fairly high, anywhere between 65 to 70%.
Wow. So what are some like key, I guess, takeaways, looking at your journey and how far you've come? Do you have like a couple attributing factors to that success that,
100%.
people could just take that information and run with it? Because there's a lot of people who would love to be in your shoes right now.
Definitely. I think one of the biggest things that helped me really scale when I first started, I remember I was a 19-year-old in college. I had my business. I was trying to network. I was trying to branch out. I was trying to find a mentor. And eventually I finally got to a point where I did. And when it wasn't easy, it was when I put myself out there and like made uncomfortable like decisions. Like I always say, you want to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's when you're going to grow. Once you get comfortable, there's no growth. There's no growth and comfort at all.
Yeah.
You get complacent. You're happy, you have a routine, you're good with that routine, and you're just stuck. That's how 99% of people are. So what I started doing was like reaching out to a bunch of people. And if I'm being honest, most people didn't respond because they're millionaires, billionaires. Why would they want to talk to a kid who's trying to like start a business, right?
What would you say? Because I've had people slide up in my DMs and just say, hey, or they said, hey, can you help me? And like, I would never.
No, that's absolutely stupid. What you want to do is stand out. So I'd research every single thing I could about this guy. I look on his LinkedIn, I look on his Instagram, I look on his YouTube, I Google him, find out like everything. And then I look at quotes he's made, and then I send him a message utilizing everything that he's put out there, certain quotes, so that he'd know that I'm not just like some random bozo trying to reach out to him, but I actually care, that I did my research, that I'm a smart guy. Mm-hmm. So it actually worked finally. So I met my business mentor in this Zoom seminar. So he was hosting a live seminar, and it was primarily like old people, like 40, 50, 60-year-olds with like really big businesses. And then out of nowhere, you see this little Indian guy pop in there, like 18, 19 years old, little me. And everyone's like cameras turned on, and he's basically speaking for a little bit. And then he points me out. He's like, Ibrahim, what do you do? I think he was trying to like make a joke out of me because I was like the only kid in there, right? And he let me talk for like 5-10 minutes. He didn't let like too many people talk. He was like, Ibrahim, say what you do, what your business is, what you're looking to achieve, what your goals are. And would just love to hear you speak. So I talked for about like 5-10 minutes. And right after that conversation, he was like very impressed. So he went on with the entire seminar. And then towards the end, he was like, Ibrahim, I actually want you to stay. I'm going to pull you out into a breakout room. So he put me in a breakout room with his chief marketing officer. His name's Reggie, and then him. And we basically were supposed to have a 5-minute conversation. It turned into like an hour and a half.
Wow.
And then we exchanged contact numbers and then just stayed in touch ever since. So anytime I felt demotivated, anytime I had a problem, anytime I didn't know what to do, I just shoot them a text and they get back to me because they saw a ton of potential in me. So I think that really helped me. And it wasn't easy because, like I said, when I first started out, I was trying to find somebody to guide me. Nobody would actually take a chance on me. But it wasn't until like I kept on putting myself out there. I didn't get demotivated. And I was proactive about it. I feel like a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, that's a great
Love that.
story.
I think social media has so much potential as far as like networking opportunities. I mean, I've made so many cool connections just through social.
Yeah, it's unreal. And another great question that a lot of people ask me is like, should I reach out to people via email or like Instagram DM? 100% Instagram DM. The reason why is because when you send a message to somebody via email, they're not going to see anything about you. They're going to see an email on a screen with like some weird username if you don't have an official business registered.
Yep.
And it's just going to like, they get tons of that every single day. But if you send an Instagram DM, people are going to be able to click your profile, check out your content, see what you're all about, see your results, see your portfolio, like see people you work with. And it's just, your response rate is going to be at least like 90% or 10 times better than sending an email.
So what can you do to like what type of posts should you be putting out? Reels should you be putting out? Should everyone who's kind of focused on that, digital entrepreneur be focusing on like putting out good Instagram content? So when they do that type of outreach to grow their network, that when these guys look at their profile, they see, oh, cool, this is what he's doing. Like, how do you go about transcribing that on your Instagram? And what can other people do to do the same?
Definitely. I mean, as for me, I have a videographer, I have an editor, obviously, because I'm at a point right now where I can afford that. But when you're first starting out, even if you don't have a business, you can still shoot content. There's absolutely no excuse. You have a phone, your phone's got a camera on it, use that to record videos. And it doesn't have to be about like anything crazy. Talk about what you learned that day. Talk about like something cool that happened at work. Talk about some like a new thing you implemented in your business. Talk about a new client you signed on. Talk about a sales call that you just did, or just record yourself working. It's not that hard. There's so many different ways you can make like high quality content that will get you more clients, get you more engagement, and boost your brand. Because that's the one thing nobody can take away from you. And it's also cool posting videos throughout your journey, even before you make it, because you can look back on that one day and be like, wow, I was over here one day filming in like this $500 apartment. Now I live in this $10,000 penthouse. Like, it's sick that I documented this journey.
Yeah.
And people are going to respect that too.
Yeah, definitely motivates people. I think that's like, me getting onto TikTok when I initially started out, it was just, sharing something that I found interesting, which was trading stocks. I didn't think anyone would be interested in it. And it turns out now, like a couple of years later, I'm like kind of this inspirational figure for people. And so,
oh yeah, I've actually seen your videos like a couple of years ago.
Wow, that's unreal.
Yeah,
Really?
that's why when you sent me that DM, I was like, oh, this is super cool. I actually used to watch their videos all the time.
No way. That's
Wow.
insane. Well, that's super cool.
And it's crazy because like I see a lot of people in the comments like just like saying some BS, but there are people out there that actually benefit. Like,
yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys this question. How do you guys deal with that? Because I see a lot more on your page.
Yeah. I mean, how do we deal with the hate comments?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't care. Like at this point, I'm just used to it. It's honestly like kind of funny to just like if I want some entertainment, I'll just look at some comments. It doesn't affect me whatsoever. It's unfortunate because it's like that the 10 hate comments that you get on a video or whatever, that's just a teeny percentage of people. More than less people who want to hate will hate and they'll say something, but all those fans, for whatever reason, like you don't see people sharing too much love in the comments. It's more the people that have hate to say that come into the comments. And so when, you have a big audience and a lot of people are watching your video and then that's all they see is the hate, it's definitely like negative for, from a brand standpoint. I don't care, but it's something that like, it definitely could, based off of what you do. I think anyone on the internet, negativity, negative comments, negative reviews for your business or your store, like, if you have a physical location, someone looks you up and sees that you have negative reviews, it's not good. So that's just something that, like, that kind of, I guess, brand awareness and, building that credibility within the brand itself, which is something that I think grows over time. The more and more you can prove yourself, and the more, like, credible you become through the more information you put out in whatever it is. And with trading, it's like, that's part of the offer we have is me posting my personal trades. So I'll share my entries and my exits, and people can essentially follow along and copy what I do. So I'm putting myself out there as a trader. You can see that the person you're investing in to learn this skill, in this case trading, is successful in what he's doing. I think with most people who are selling a product or selling themselves, the more transparency you can put out there is really going to help that. Because everyone we have that comes through the door and that actually, is delivered upon what we're promising and providing is very happy. But everyone on the outside who hasn't, taken that chance to join and spend that money on education is very skeptical. So getting that, trying to get some voices out from that group of, the group we have that's been successful, trying to put that out on the internet, I think is going to help anyone. And that comes to anything, like the more testimonials you can provide, help.
Mark, I want to say, like, the comments, it's like, I go on our TikTok and I see the comments, but then the second I hop in the Discord and I really like that story you put out like last week, a week or two ago, of like everyone's cars that they've copped ever since they've like joined and stuff like that. Yeah. And of course, like, yeah, that's a certain amount of percentage of people, but still, it's like the people actually in our group, like, making money, like the people we've helped, it way overshadows the haters.
Yeah, I think what you guys are trying to, what you're trying to say is, like, one good review. I started a business Snapchat just because I wanted to, like, interact with people. And the amount of, like, fans I had adding me, be like, bro, like, you changed my life. Like, I trade now. This is awesome. Hitting me up. It's just like those few people that, like, you actually see that you genuinely helped. It just outweighs all the hate. But yeah,
100%. Like, I went live last night in the hot tub over here, and somebody was like, "Oh, just by watching your videos, I closed a $6,000 deal yesterday." And I was like, "That's amazing, man. That's why I do what I do." It's a good feeling.
It's crazy.
I also feel like they made 99% of people can't really see at the level that we see the world. I feel like only 1% of people have the same vision that we have.
Yeah,
that's why, like, there's such a big difference in there's such a big wealth gap. And it really just comes down to, like, people going with the flow or just, like, following the crowd, and then other people seeing a life beyond that. And the people you hang around. I always say, like, you hang around 4 millionaires, what's going to happen? You're going to be the fifth. You hang around 4 bums, you're going to be the fifth bum.
Yeah, we've talked about this on, like, previous episodes. You're right. It is like a total, like, mindset shift and perspective thing, where if you're scrolling through Instagram and you see, like, these guys in Lambos, these 20-year-olds, like, doing this on a private jet, whatever, and this thing seems like so outlandish to you, like, the second you're like, oh, that's fake, this isn't real, these people are scamming, you're doing yourself a disfavor. It's like, by looking at that and saying, oh, wow, they did it, so I can do it. Like, that mindset of, like, someone else can do it, that means I can do it. It's that mentality that's, like, actually gonna, help you achieve these things.
That's very true. It's because majority of the people literally live paycheck to paycheck, so they've never seen anything that we're doing, like, actually within their friend groups or within their circle. And it wasn't even until I have a client on the Forbes list. He owns a consulting firm. But it wasn't until I actually took a trip. I was in college at the time. I took a trip to visit him in San Diego with my business partner, and seeing his lifestyle. He lives in the tallest penthouse in San Diego, right over Petco Park, right? So going over there, seeing his lifestyle, seeing how people treated him, seeing how much charisma this guy had, how he walked around like he was just the king, like the cars he had. And I was like, wow, like, this guy's my client number one. And, like, this is the life that he lives. And this is a life that I could have. So that really motivated me, and that really pushed me to work even harder to live the life that I have right now, because I was like, all right, it's possible. And I already have a client like that. What's stopping me from getting 10 more? And it was also a really good thing that I actually got him through a Facebook ad. But it was also really good that I connected with him and signed him on, because he actually introduced me to, like, a bunch of people in his circle. So I probably made another 30, 40 grand just by signing him as a client, because he knew so many other high net worth individuals.
Wow. So really cool. What are future plans for you as far as growth? How do you continue to scale this agency? And, are you, in the next year, can you see yourself making 500,000 a month, $1 million a month? Is that far out of reach?
Yeah. So the goal right now is definitely $1 million a month. We just put out an application for a couple more closers. We actually got 250 people who applied to that. We ended up hiring 6 full-time. So their calendars are pretty much booking out nonstop. And then it's a lot to oversee. And I always say hire people who are better than you. So like I'm a pretty good closer, but I'm not the best. There's definitely people better than me. And I'm not scared to admit that, because you want to hire people who are way better than you in order to actually grow your business. So we've got 6 full-time closers, and then I actually just hired a full-time head of sales and operations about a month or two ago. His name is Brett, absolute killer. He oversees that branch. And then I also had I have a head of operations, project manager. His name's Faze. He lives in Malaysia. So when I'm sleeping, he's up working. And then he oversees like all the VAs, the account managers, and then our affiliate team as well, because he's closed over like $5 million strictly in the DMs. This guy's like a wizard with the keys. He knows how to talk to people through Messenger. So he's the one that coaches up our team, account managers, affiliates, VAs. And then me and Renzo are just overseeing everything. So like the way we go about things is that I do majority of the back end, he does the front end. So a lot of people have trouble when they have like a business partner, but it's not an issue if you guys don't clash. So that's why we kind of have that breakdown. And it's been really good because we're both really good at what we do. So we're moving at like 1,000,000 miles per hour, trying to grow it, trying to scale it. And it's been working out really well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. Find someone who has the strengths that, complement your weaknesses.
100%.
You can move a lot faster.
We just want to take a second to thank this week's sponsor, thedailytraders.com. Now, if you're interested in learning how to trade in the stock market, having access to see my exact trades in the stock market this year in 2023, I'm trading with $500,000, and you will be able to see my exact entries and exits. Click the first link in the description below and join the mentorship group. Apply discount code YouTube50, and I'll see you over there.
I actually, I wanted to kind of go back to the whole college subject. That my mindset on college actually really changed a lot after this week. And because I went to college for a semester before I dropped out. And if you're going to go to college, I think you have to go to, if you're a guy, you have to be in a fraternity. And the reason why, and this kind of this might be outlandish, the connections that you make in a good fraternity, because there's some fraternities that probably wouldn't do shit for you, but I joined a really, really good fraternity. And when I went back to college, and this is kind of playing into the connections, I met with one of the alumni, and he owns this huge, huge corporate law firm in Central Florida. And I just talked with him, kind of like Ibrahim, your story of meeting this Forbes guy kind of reminded me a lot of this, where this one guy, and the story of this guy that you reached out to on Instagram, this one guy made so many connections for me that this entire week he's been setting me up with in group chats with like other guys, like venture capitalists out in Puerto Rico who are interested in investing in my company. And all of a sudden, like this unlimited amount of money I've just gained access to simply because I went to a fraternity. And now all of a sudden, this one guy believed in me because I was in the same fraternity as him. We had a simple conversation that now it's completely leveled up my business and allowed us to really aggressive growth. It's actually like 5 extra growth in the last week. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to have connections like that. As for my story, I went to Michigan State University. I did pledge a fraternity, but it just didn't go well. I didn't like the guys.
What happened? What you didn't like the guys? That was it.
All they did was do things that you shouldn't be doing. Don't want to go into too much detail, but it's just stuff that hinders your growth.
I think you're right.
And like I said earlier, you're an average of your environment. So if you're around a certain type of group that only does things that are going to digress your growth compared to people that are going to push you and be better, then it just speaks for itself.
Yeah, I just want to put this out there. I was in probably one of the best fraternities. I mean, the guys in there are super motivated, super intelligent, and then the alumni are some of the most successful. So do research on the alumni of a fraternity of a fraternity that is in your school, because the alumni is what's going to make the biggest difference. When you join those alumni group chats, when you meet one of the top dog alumni, your connections are just it's pretty wild. And I didn't even realize that until last week, which really shifted my perspective on college. But you don't have to go for 4 years. You just go for a semester, pledge, connections, and dip.
I don't know how I feel about this. No, networking and connections are huge, and finding a mentor is super important. Is there any kind of final closing words of wisdom, advice you want to pass on to anyone? And then, feel free to plug your social medias, where can people find you? And then we'll go ahead and wrap things up. But we hope you guys have enjoyed this episode so far.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Just, I believe there's 2 types of people in this world. Number 1, there is a reactive person. That's 99% of people in the world. And then number 2, top 1%, those are proactive people. So the reason why we're in the position we're in right now is because we're proactive. So a lot of people aren't like that. Most people are reactive. They wait for opportunities to come to them. They wait for deals to get handed to them. They wait for people to connect them with others. but that never happens. Nothing is ever going to get handed to you, especially if you're just trying to get started or get a business off the ground. That's why you have to be proactive and initiate every deal, initiate every opportunity, initiate every single thing that you want to happen, and then speak it into existence. That's how you get ahead. That's how you live the life you want. That's how you grow a successful business. That's how you network. That's how you make money. And that's how you do everything you want to do in life. You just got to be a proactive person. That's how you get in the top 1%.
That's
I
awesome.
love it.
What great advice.
Thank you. All right. We hope you guys did enjoy this episode. Where can people find you?
You could check me out on TikTok at the Ibrahim Ansari and Instagram at the Ibrahim Ansari. TheIbrahimAnsari.
And we'll link you in the description.
We'll also put those links in the description. Ibrahim, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Later.